Sound Therapy Arts TV. I'm Arielle, and we are here with Mark Fenster of the Autumn Studios Community Music Collective. I got it right.
You did.
Okay, cool. It's a mouthful. So we're so glad to have you here today, and thank you for coming in and playing some songs from Peace Weaver with your collective. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the collective? What's that all about?
Sure. With the growing changes in the music industry, nobody's really surprised about that. Musicians are we're looking for unique ways and interesting ways to market our music and to create music. And the costs can be extremely high in working with other musicians, hiring musicians, paying for studio time, engineers, producers, etc. So we're basically a group of experienced professional musicians in Vancouver at the moment and expanding that are working together. Nobody's paying any money to anybody. We're all just working towards the end result of some work that we can share, selling on CDs, online, digital formats, and doing some performances here in concert, etc. And we all just simply benefit based on our contribution level. And it's been a really wonderful growing experience, musically, spiritually, and community-wise, and just watching new members come and how we expand and just interesting ways we meet each other and work together.
That's awesome. So speaking of new members, how do you go about recruiting people to come and join your collective? Because it seems like you really have to jive really well together. So how do you kind of bring people into this collective?
That's a really great question. To date, it's been really organic. We don't have a specific format. There's no form to fill out or anything like that.
Height requirements?
No, there's no height requirements. You know, it's, I'll tell you one great, I mean, I know Mark Ferris, and Mark introduced me to Finn Maneke and Nika Pivor. Holly Burke was one of the first people I met when I moved here in '95. And Zoe is my daughter.
Yeah.
And who am I forgetting? Well, there's Francis. Here's a great story for you and a great way to talk about how we meet and organically. I was sitting with my wife Liz on a ferry heading to the Sunshine Coast and listening to this beautiful acoustic guitar music that I was looking around for, where is this music coming from?
Right.
Where are the speakers? Since when does BC Ferries have speakers? And piped in music. And sure enough, it's not there. It's a few seats behind me. Total hippie gentleman sitting there plucking away in his Laravel, and wow. So I went to speak to him. And there's a long story involved, but I'll keep it short, cut to the chase. He ended up being very interested in the collective. He came to the studio. He lives in Mission, and I later found out he's the founder and artistic director of the Mission Folk Music Festival.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's traveling the world right now looking for new talent to bring to the festival.
That's
so
great.
He couldn't be with us tonight, but he will come in. And
we look forward to having him, actually. Yeah.
Thanks,
and hopefully you'll join him. Hopefully you'll come back too.
Well, if he wants me there, awesome. But his CD is a solo work. So.
Yeah. So speaking of solo, each of you are professional musicians on your own. You have your own careers, you have your own stuff going on.
Yep.
So how does that creative process work? The writing, the composing, the making sure that all the instruments go well together? How does that process work out?
Scheduling can be challenging.
Yeah, I bet.
But basically, when we sat down to do this CD, I had a few songs ready, and I just asked the musicians to come, the members, and they came in and they played what they felt was there, and we just talked about it, and it was all very organic, very much on the fly. There were a couple of pieces where there was something written out, but one of the pieces we did in today's show, The Search, is a piece that Nika Pivor wrote in the studio, because I said, come on, Nick, let's get one of your pieces on there. And he goes, okay, let me put something together on the piano. And then we recorded that. And then, okay, give me a bass sound and a patch. And we recorded that. And then he did some percussion. And then we had the Finn Maneke on cello and Mark Ferris on violin. And all of a sudden, this thing just blossomed into something absolutely gorgeous.
That's awesome.
From zero to a half an hour, done.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I think that's how you can tell real musicians, you know, when they can just come in the studio and just go off and really make something beautiful. That's really cool.
Thanks, it is.
And also, I wanted to ask about the particular tracks that you chose to play today. Why did you choose those ones? And what are the stories behind them?
Oh, God, stories. Got plenty of those. One of the reasons was since Francis couldn't join us tonight, they were three of the pieces that we could do without Francis.
Yeah.
So that was one reason.
Okay,
the first
cool.
piece we did, Fameva, is a blessing, a Hindu blessing that I learned in India while living in an ashram. And
Wow.
the melody and the Sanskrit words are ancient and beautiful and really deep meaning.
Yeah.
And then I put the arrangements together, and the musicians just came in and added, as I said, their own bit to it.
Yeah.
So that has a real history of ancient spirituality and adoration for nature and all of us being here
It sounds
together.
like that's a common thread in your music.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us maybe in one statement, what's the common thread through all of your music? What is something that you guys always kind of use to unite your albums?
Universal spiritual love, I guess, would be the easiest way to say it. Excuse me. We live in a society where there are so many different ways of thinking and believing that this spiritual path is the right way, that one isn't. This is the right God, that's a different God, and so on. But when you actually look at what the different main faiths are saying, and even pretty much all the faiths, we're all pretty much saying the same thing. So this music, and music, as I understand, is the only thing that uses
Unites
the entire...
everyone, yeah.
and
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much, Mark Fenster,
Thank
for
you.
being with us at Sound Therapy Arts TV.
Thanks, Arielle.